Alright, you guys are gonna have to work with me here for a second. Get this camera set up. Yes, this is how I live stream. Paint booth. Phone holder. Power supply for the phone. So I need to get this set up. I'm trying to think on if I flip the camera over, is that gonna do it the right way? So I'm recording with my back camera because it's better quality. I noticed the last video only came out in 480p, which is like, woo, low end. So I'm gonna check on that real quick. Stay here though, because we're gonna create a smallmouth bass pattern together. I'm just checking out my computer, the camera angle and stuff. Also, there's not gonna be music playing. It can be posted to my YouTube channel for good. If I play music in the background, then they'll copyright it and won't let me do that. We're gonna create a smallmouth bass pattern. I'm just checking out my computer camera angle. Also, can be posted to my YouTube channel for good. All right. That doesn't look too bad. I do have the chat up on my computer too, so if you guys type something, maybe it'll pop up. I don't know. Alright, so like I said, we're going to create a smallmouth bass pattern here. You guys will hear my compressor go off too. It's going to be super loud because it's like right behind the camera, the phone. So, sorry. But it is what it is. I got a 2-gallon tank compressor, so it won't last too long. Anyway, so smallmouth bass pattern. I'm going to be using a square bill. You might get bass KO. Very common lure, pretty well made and swim good. So the first thing I need to do is create a stencil. So I already got one cut out in the shape of the actual bait itself. And what I did was, obviously I'm using blue painter's tape, but I took some paper that doesn't allow the tape to stick to it. You can use wax paper if you want. I don't have any. My wife doesn't use wax paper, so I don't have any in the house. But this is a printer sticker tape. I just threw away the sticker part of it, and this is the other side of it. So this actually won't allow the tape to stick to it, so you can peel it right off. And what I did was, I have painter's tape and the paper's in between it, so I can peel it off. And if you do it this way, then the pattern that you draw on one side, when you cut it out, it's gonna be on the other side as well. So you only have to do your stencil once instead of twice. So a little trick there. So what we're gonna do first is actually design the stencil, because there's no sense of trying to paint while you don't have a stencil to go. You can only go so far painting. And sooner or later I will stop talking. I do have earbuds in so I can listen to music. And my kids will probably come down. My wife will probably yell down the steps, and you might hear them upstairs because my wife is having a little shindig with all of her friends. So I came downstairs to paint. Mark Noonley, I see your message on my computer. Glad that I'm back. Thanks, bud. I appreciate it. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or anything, just comment it, and I should get it sooner or later. Might see me going in and out of frame here. First things first is I have some pictures. Oh. It's the wife. First things first, I have some pictures up on my computer that kind of, you know, shows the smallmouth bass. So I'm just going to be looking at that and drawing accordingly. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark out this gill plate. So there's a gill plate on the bait. I'm going to mark that on my stencil, so because I don't want to go over top of that. Or I will be going over top of it, but I want to know where it is on my stencil as well. So what I do is I just draw a line on the stencil to show whereabouts it is. Freehand it so I get a good idea. It doesn't have to be perfect, just so you get a general idea. At least that's what I like to do. So now I have a general idea of where the gill plate is. It's always good to have that, especially if you're doing a stencil. A stencil like my bluegill, where you don't want the bars on the stencil, on the gill plate. So therefore you would draw the gill plate on it and start the actual bars after the gill plate. So it's always handy to know where the gill plate is on the stencil. So smallmouth bass is just a lot of bars and a lot of random bars and patterns and stuff like that. So I'm just going to freehand this here. I'm actually going to start with, looks like there's about 3 lines. Well, I'm going to blow up this picture on my computer. Alright, so it looks like there's about 3 bars that come over the eye. So I'm going to start with those. This doesn't have to be anything crazy, you know. The good thing about painter's tape too is if you're using a pencil, you can erase on it. A lot of other ways you can't really erase what you've already drawn on it. I'm just going to take a look here. What airbrush am I using? I am using an Iwata HPCS. I suggest if you're going to paint baits, if you're going to airbrush anything really, I suggest you get this brush. I know people that tend to start up like to, you know, beginning, you don't really want to go out and spend too much money on something that you might not like. So if you're just getting into airbrushing and you don't know that you actually like it, of course you want to not spend that much money in case you don't like it, so then you're not out, you know, a crap load of money. I get that. What I did was I started out with Iwata Neo CN or whatever it is. It's made for Iwata, but it's not the Iwata company as I understand it. It's like a China-based company. They make a lower end brush. I would suggest, if you're going, I would suggest don't buy a master airbrush. I mean, you're basically just wasting your money. Along with the Iwata Neo, I mean, it's a step up from a master airbrush, but you're still kind of wasting your money because those brushes work. Yes, they work. They don't work that great, but they do work. But in about a month to 2 months to 3 months, it's going to be shot, and you're going to have to buy the higher end airbrush anyway. So what I suggest is that you just spend the money right out and buy an Iwata HPCS. It's an all-around good brush. It's a 0.35 needle, so you get that fine detail, but you can still get those wide brush strokes as well. It's a all-around great gun. It costs $150. Not too expensive, not too cheap, but it's gonna last and it's gonna be well worth it. You're gonna get good results with it. So there's no sense of painting a bait that looks like a 3-year-old did it with crayons, you know. So it is what it is, though. If you can't afford it, then you can't afford it, but I suggest that you get one. Anyway, back to drawing these bars. It's just random stuff. I'm not really too concerned with the bars themselves. What I am concerned about is making this my own pattern, you know. I don't want it to look like somebody else's pattern or something, so just doing random stuff. Will it look good? I don't know, hopefully. That's the idea anyway. I'll show you guys what I'm drawing before I start cutting it out. Alright, so hopefully you guys can see all these random spots that I drew. That's basically all smallmouth is. The most defined marks do come across the eyes. You know, there's one that goes through the hole, like almost the middle of the eye. It starts on the nose, it does go all the way through the eye, and then there's like a couple more, so that's really all you have to do. And I'm actually going to redo those up front here, so I want it to look a little bit better. Alright, so I just changed it up just a little. Hopefully you guys can see that. If not, I apologize. Alright, so the key to this next part, get that stuff out of the way. As you see, I have I've done all different patterns. This is my little cut-in block. So the next thing is to cut out the pattern, the stencil. You need a brand new X-Acto blade. It's very important, otherwise you're just causing yourself stress. You're cutting through 2 layers of tape and a random piece of paper, and you're doing little cuts in a lot of them, so. And as you'll see, I won't get through on all of these perfectly, so the sharper, the newer the blade, the easier making it on yourself. The way I do it is I just guide across the lines, pressing down hard. I do one at a time. Now, I don't suggest. You can, see, and then I just peel that piece right off. So that's only 1 layer of the tape. can see the white paper on the inside. So I'll just go right back through that. Just making sure I'm getting all the way through both sides of the tape. You just gotta kind of work everything in until you get it all out. This is going to be the most time consuming and most boring thing that you watch today. But this is part of bait making, part of bait painting. So if you guys want to come back in about 15-20 minutes, I won't blame you. You can flip the stencil over and see if you got through on the other side yet. I'm pretty close. Now, of course, you could save yourself this 15-20 minutes that this takes to do, and just buy a stencil. But the downfall of doing that, the drawback is everybody has that stencil and it costs money. So like you're not doing anything original, you're kind of just buying what other people already have. Which I guess there's nothing really wrong with that. Anyway, so there's the very first bar. Cut right through all of them, both sides. So, like I said, a sharp knife helps. Alright, I'm gonna get back to doing this, so like I said, if you want to come back in 15-20 minutes, I wouldn't blame you. Doing it this way too ensures that you get the exact same pattern on both sides of your bait. Also, when you're cutting small bars like this, once you get through the first few, the integrity of the tape and everything starts to get weak, so you just have to be careful that you don't tear through the tape and ruin the stencil, which is very likely. And then you'll be using tape to tape your taped stencil. If you guys have any questions or anything, don't forget to type a little comment there. I do have it up on my computer so I can see. I will answer you to the best of my ability and the best of my knowledge. Do I have the answers for everything? Absolutely not. I'm still an amateur at bait painting. I'm pretty sure my earbud's just dead. Alright, so you see I'm getting started there. Got a few of them done. So I'm just gonna grind away at this. And by the way, a smallmouth pattern is the actual stencil. It's one of the hardest ones because the bars and everything are just so close. It can be a pain in the butt. Hey, baby. You doing what? So random. Remember, you can save yourself this 15, 20 minutes that it takes to cut this out and go buy a stencil. You don't have to do this. I like to. It's my creation. Maybe I'll invest into a 3D printer. Learn to do that. That'd be pretty cool. Oh, I just ripped the tape. That sucks. That's alright. Give it some character. Coming along, nice and slow. Trying to do all the small spots first because they're so tiny and time consuming. I do have to confess that I built this new paint booth, and I think I need some more lights, not brighter lights, just a couple more. There has been a couple times I'm like, man, I can't see that. And all painters know how important lights are. Alright, so there's all the small ones. Gonna get into the big ones now. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'm sure you can. Go right into the big ones. Just gonna redraw these real quick. Handle in it, kind of rub the lead off. Pencil, that is. And just so you guys know, when I do the drawing of the stencil and then the actual cut-in, I just kind of, the pencil lines that I drew, I just use those as a guideline of how wide I should be cutting it. I kind of just do my own thing. Again, it's not an exact replica of what I actually drew. It's close, but you know, I just kind of, it's more of a reference line than an actual final draft when I draw the first go at it. There's the first one. Just random, kind of. I think the stencil is going to be part 1 of this video. So my wife is cooking dinner, so I'm going to have to take a little break in between actual doing the stencil and painting it. Again, disclaimer, you can go buy stencils. If you want to know where to buy stencils, ask. You don't have to do this. I like to. I'm actually going to switch out my blade here and get a... Not that that one's shot, it's just the tip is a little gone already, so I'm just going to switch out here. So it's still a pretty sharp blade, but switching out. Sharper the blade, the easier it is. So the one downfall of doing this with painter's tape is that it's only going to last so long. Like these ones I've had since when I painted before, but these are just like stuck on it, so it is what it is. But I'll be able to use the stencil for at least, you know, a couple months, so I guess that would be the one drawback of doing your own like this and actually buying one. Because if you bought one, then it doesn't go away. It doesn't tear. I mean, I guess it could break, but it's just not going to last. A tape one's not going to last forever. The life of it is going to be much shorter than if you went and bought one. So, pros and cons to everything in life, though, right? Comes my little girl.
Daddy,
Hey, baby, what's up?
where's Robert?
Brubber had to go to a birthday party at his friend's house.
I want to go there.
It was Brubber's friend, not Mia's friend.
But my
Did your friend come over, Aslan? Huh?
not
No? Okay, sorry, babe. She's a character. Well, I'm nearing the end here, finally. Looks like I have about 3 more to do. Nearing the end here. Come off. Getting down to the thin edges here, so it's a little bit hard to do it properly. Just gotta take your time. Alright, last one. Hey, thanks, Michael P. Happy to be back. Mark Noonley says plastic cups like the infamous red Solo cups work pretty good for stencils too. Hey, it's a good pointer. I'm sure they do, and I'm sure that they would last a lot longer than tape. But the one benefit that I do like about tape is that you can tape it and curve it right to the curves of the bait. So it works out pretty good. I've never tried a Solo cup, so I can't really speak on that. I'm sure that it works to some extent. Alright, last one. I'm just gonna try to fill in this tail space a little bit. Nothing fancy. Almost like a little pizza slice on this back tail. A little triangle. Oh no, there it is, the rip. Like I said, I was going too fast there. You gotta be careful or that's gonna happen. Tore right through that. But that's okay because it's tape. So when I go to tape it on the bait, I'll just push that spot together, so it'll be alright. Trying to move too fast to get this finished up. I know it's so boring for you guys. But this actually is, you know, the true life of bait painting. It's not just an edited video that you're gonna see on Facebook, I mean on YouTube. I feel like I'm doing surgery over here. Alright, so I'm actually going to peel this apart now so you can see these two stencils coming apart, hopefully. There's a little extra tape there. Alright, so there's one side, the stencil, there's the other. I still have to finish out that tail real quick, so that's why I wanted to peel it apart so I can get done with this tail on this side. Clean up this final piece here and good to go. Alright, so there's your left and right side to your stencil. I'm just going to double check over this and make sure that it's clean enough. You can go back and clean the individual ones now to if you have any little stragglers. Or actually looks pretty good, so I'm done cutting, so I'm gonna put this away. Oh Mia. Kids. Alright, so that goes away. Now, you see, if you use the wax paper, or like I did, this little sticky stuff, sticker paper stuff, it actually pulls right off. And you could actually use that as a stencil too, if you wanted to. So there's the actual tape stencil. So then you just tape it on accordingly, boom, 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 and spray. Of course, it's going to need a little configuration. What you want to do with these after you get them done, it's painter's tape, so it does have some good adhesive on it. So what you want to do is you want to take this, and if you ever watched any of my other videos, you know to stick it on your clothes. Stick it on your clothes, softly peel it off. Especially with a intricate stencil like this, you don't want to go ripping it off because you're going to make a tear between the bars and rip your stencil. But what you're doing here is you're getting rid of some of the adhesive on the back of the tape by picking up the lint and stuff off your clothes. So it's making it not so sticky. So when you go to use your stencil, obviously you're not sticking it on a clear unpainted blank, you're putting it on an already painted blank. So if you have really sticky tape, you put it on the painted blank, the painted bait, holy crap, when you pull the tape off, you're liable to pull up some of that those layers that you already sprayed. So you gotta make this so it's not so tacky is all. And that's another reason why I stick them right here on my wall. Boom. Nice and handy, and it takes away some of the adhesive as well. So again, just do that a few times, and that, my friends, is how you make a stencil. A very original stencil. You're not going to have the stencil. The guy that's watching with you is not going to have the stencil. Only I have the stencil. This is my stencil. I created and cut it. Nobody else is going to have it. There is a little piece right there I want to come in. Alright, so the stencil's done. On to the bait. Just going to get rid of all this. This brown stuff is craft paper, in case you guys were wondering. You can get it from Walmart, Lowe's, whatever. It just helps if you have that down instead of straight wood. See, it's easy to clean up and spray on it, and not going to mess up your table or your desk or whatever you're using it for. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to end this feed, this stream. I'm going to spray this bait with white base coat, so that. And I'm also going to grab dinner, so I'll be back in about 15 minutes with a bait that's ready to get some color on it. We're ready to use the stencil, so I'm just going to fine-tune some things and get ready for the next feed. So that's what I'm going to do now. So be back in about 15 minutes, guys.